Hello, I'm Keith Weller. Welcome to Conway Recreation Ground, or Conway Rec as we call it. You're looking at our pond, which hasn't always looked quite as it does now, and we're going to tell you a bit about it. About 7 years ago, the pond flooded, as it had from time to time, and reached a very high level, flooding the close by tennis courts, and it stayed that way for some considerable time. We did try to get somebody to take notice of it and solve the problem, but it took a while and a bit of persuasion. Eventually they did. They came, they dug, they emptied the pond, and the drains had collapsed that took the water away. So they fixed the drains, but the pond was left rather bare. All the plants had gone, all the wildlife had gone as the pond was emptied to be cleaned, and so we were left with a rather sterile space. No birds, no plants, no little animals. So we thought we should do something about it, and a group of local people got together and decided they would work together to try to help to bring the wreck back to its previous rather more attractive state, and that's where the story started.
I'm Ilona Jesnick, and I've lived near the pond since 1967, so I've seen all of the changes that have happened from that time until this. In 2010, as Keith said, the pond was completely cleared out and everything went. We had a lovely stand of water lilies in the pond that somebody had thrown in, and into those water lilies had come a pair of moorhens which regularly nested there. All the water lilies went and the moorhen were left stranded. The council also took our sticklebacks. So we were left the next year with a black empty, absolutely nothing there, and a pair of moorhens paddling around with nothing to do. By February they were desperate, they needed nesting sites, and so an old bough from one of the oak trees was moved into the centre, overturned. They nested on top of this log. They took everything that they could to nest on it, old bits of paper that people were still throwing things into the pond, old bits of plastic, we threw grass in for them, and they managed to raise one brood that year. From that point on, we all decided that we would have to find housing for the moorhens, and we came together as a group. We got together with the council, we were donated various bits and pieces that we use in the pond to make the islands, and we were also donated lots of plants from the council, and we started to build up the islands from that point. And this has proved very, very successful. We now have our moorhens every year nesting regular as clockwork, and producing several broods of moorhens every year. We have ducks, we have tufted ducks, we have a housing problem for our wildlife now.
Hi, my name is Mick Carman, and I live in the area for 25 years, and my main interest in this recreation ground is the wildlife. We have a rather large selection of wildlife in the area. We have bats, we have a large number of birds, but we also have a great group of amphibians. We have the common toad, the common frog, and the smooth newt. The pond, when it was emptied, lost most of these animals. Toads in particular suffered, but we're very pleased to say that over the last few years the toads have increased, and we now have a very, very successful spawning group. Newts are very, very common, and we also have a large number of frogs. This year there were probably 50 plus, and they spawned with an amazing amount of spawn was produced. We have fish in the pond, we have herons, and one of the things we had to do when the pond was emptied, we had to create some more wildlife areas. So one of the things we did is we built these islands, and what we used was old water tanks from lofts. We would scour old skips and find water tanks, take them out into the centre of the pond, drill holes in the bottom, sink them, fill them with earth, and then plant them up, and this has become a wonderful, wonderful area for the birds to nest.
The moorhens hatch and rear their babies on the wreck each year, but also every year we have a female mallard who hatches a brood, and after a few days walks them down the road to Enfield Park. If anyone sees them, they escort them across the road so they make it safely. This is why you never see baby ducks on the wreck. My name is Fran Carmen. I've lived here for 25 years. A few years after we had started repopulating the pond, we found that there was a great problem with matweed. Two of our members, Sue and Dave Davis, had heard of barley blooms, so we started forming these. We create them with polystyrene floats, wrapping barley around them and then netting them so that they stay together in one piece. We anchor them in the pond and we found this amazingly successful. It seems to have cleared the matweed very well indeed, but we do keep an eye on it and we have to replace them 2 or 3 times a year. This is one of the things that we do on our activity days. We hold these regularly in the rec. We ask the members to come along and help. They dig, they weed, they plant, and they clear the pond, and indeed we make the barley booms. This means that the whole area is involved. We always have a good turnout on our activity days and people enjoy it, and coincidentally we always have very good weather, so it's always worth people coming along to enjoy the sunshine if nothing else. A lot of school children from St Monica's walk through this rec, and of course a lot of children use it at the weekends. So we decided that we would try and make it a little more educational and fun for them. We created a series of 4 lecterns, each with a different subject, and we placed them around the rec. Our committee got together and created the panels, and we had them installed, and they proved very popular indeed. The children stop and look at them, and we hope that they're learning quite a lot as well as being interesting.